GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Boliga, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Welcome to another GNT show supplemental log. Joining me this week, first I probably should introduce myself. I'm Seradium Mike, and joining me this week is the lovely Tara Lynn.
Hello, everyone.
And our extra special guest this evening is Captain Gecko, Al Rivera. How you doing, Al?
Hello there, Mike. Hi,
Welcome
Terry.
back. How are you, Al?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
It's been a very long time since we've had you on, and for that we apologize. But it's
always a pleasure to hear you.
I know, it's so nice. For our listeners who may not know, Captain Gecko is the lead designer over at Cryptic Studios, and in this case, we're talking to him about Star Trek Online, which is the wonderful game that we've all been playing for pretty much going on 6.5 years now. Can't believe it.
Yeah. So much fun.
Going on eight for me.
That's true. That's true.
So much fun, and it keeps getting better and better. And the big news lately that everyone's been talking about is Agents of Yesterday. Is it yesterday or yesteryear? Yesterday. Which
yesterday.
is
not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Yes.
Not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's right.
Which is a new expansion. So mind-boggling.
I know. Well, on the heels of the last season, which I believe was 11.5, we kind of get involved in what seems to be
timey-wimey stuff.
Timey-wimey stuff. That temporal Cold War kind of brewing. And now I'm kind of under the impression that maybe we get into the thick of things with Agents of Yesterday.
We get into the thick of things, but from a different perspective, right? Because it's the story thus far, like season 11, even going back into some of the bits of season 10. Where we started laying some of the groundwork, you're seeing from a captain of a 2409/2410 point of view of the story, and that's we're up to 11.5 with the last not cool episode, and now expansion 3, Agents of Yesterday, is kind of picking up the story, but from a different point of view. You're a captain in the 23rd century in the TOS era, and you get caught up into this. So it's like two stories kind of merging together. Right. It's actually been quite complicated, and it's been really this is probably our most complex story, and it's been our most dangerous story because it's so complex, because it's time travel, so it gets all timey-wimey and really and every player may be playing this from a different point of view, right? Because some of the missions that we'll be releasing for expansion 3 are perfectly playable by existing characters, and and so you might be attacking those stories.
Oh my God, how fun!
From different timelines, right? And so, right?
I'm blown away by this. I did not know. That is so very cool.
So like if you come in and with your 2409 character and pick up one of the episodes, you've already played some of the stuff that's in the future, right? So it's so we have alternate dialogues depending on which timeline you're coming from, and
that is complicated.
And so it is complicated. But I want to make one thing clear: the Agents of Yesterday, you are a TOS captain. You're not someone from 2409 being sent back in the past and doing TOS stuff. You are the goal is to make an experience that you are a TOS captain. You are from that era.
Okay, so now I'm like twice as giggly.
Wow,
I'm twice as giggly about the fact that I actually bought the pack.
Yeah, as did I.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a TOS captain. We are going through the various story missions. Will it link up with 2409 timeline?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of like traveling.
We're not. So you'll travel forward in time.
We're traveling forward. Okay.
You're gonna and sometimes backwards. But you will.
Oh wow.
So you are, but you are 2409 captain, yes, and we do link you up with the we're not making a separate faction so far that you will never play with the regular characters. We could never make a game. We could never make an expansion that big, right? We could never make one where you're just going to be just playing. We might as well make a separate game at that point, right? Yeah. And you're going to be isolated from the rest of the community. You're not going to have any of the end game, all the missions, and all the queues and all the reps, right? And just everything, and no, that's just completely impractical. That would probably take us 2 years to do. So no, you'll start off in 2409. Excuse me, in 2270. Excuse me. All these dates have really, there's been so many centuries that we've touched base on, right? Because the ship pack you have 27th century ships and 31st century ships and 23rd century ships in that pack. So you basically will catch up and join the rest of the community, but you will later on do other missions that are other time traveling missions that continue the story. There's been some concern and I noticed online about, hey, there's only so many TOS episodes and it's over and this is too small. So, well, we haven't released everything yet, so there will be other content that will also be available, not only to TOS players but to existing players at all, as well as queues, which will involve time travel as well.
That is so amazingly awesome. Seriously, that's really cool. I had no idea that it was going to be this complex. I just thought that maybe what we were going to do with is just, another move forward in the story from your 2409, 2410 character.
Or a displaced captain, someone like the captain of the Bozeman, which was played by someone who,
right?
Someone who was, pulled out of the wrong timeline and is now living here, and it's like, okay, but wow.
Well, there's some of that, but it's so at the end of the last Nakul episode, right? And the Nakuls go back, because you both played that, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
11.5 episode, right?
Yeah.
So spoilers for 11. So spoilers for 11.5 if you haven't played it. At the end of the episode, right? You go forward in time. You get and the Nakuls have their time portal and they go back in time. And hopefully everyone remembers who the Nakul are.
Yes.
The Nakul were in Enterprise, right? They started in season 4.
Yep. Space Nazis.
And they were dressed. They weren't really space Nazis, but they were pretending to be Nazis in the Third Reich, and they empowered the Hitler and the Third Reich to.
It was a means to their end.
Yeah.
Right.
To win. Yeah. They wanted to. They changed history so that way the Third Reich won, and while they're supplying weapons and technology to the Nazis. Of course, Archer stops him and fixes time. But they have this stealth time travel capabilities, and Daniels says, the Nakuls, these guys are the big players in the temporal Cold War, and they have this way of traveling through time that we can't find them. Unfortunately, it means that they can't use it to go back to, when they use their stealth time travel, they can't return, which is why they were trying to build a time machine in that era. But they said they wanted to manipulate the timeline the way they wanted, but the temporal prime directive prevents them from doing that. So they went back in time to change Earth history so that way the Federation wouldn't form, and thus the temporal accords and the temporal prime directive wouldn't exist. So that way they'd be free to adjust their timeline however they see fit. And so we that whole temporal Cold War and all of that stuff in Enterprise in my opinion, never really wrapped up and answered enough questions for me. So we want to go back and answer those
That's
questions.
really fun.
So we picked.
And this is the timeline, or this is the roughly the point in time when it does kind of sort of heat up. So it makes sense that it still would be exploring it. So bravo, well done.
We definitely wanted to. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm loving what you guys have released so far in terms of the temporal front episodes. Some of them are very unexpected, but such great storytelling. One of them even pissed me off.
So have you played on Tribble?
I have not.
I downloaded it, but I haven't gone in yet because I haven't decided whether or not I want to if I want to be spoiled or not.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I want to encourage gold members to play so we can find bugs with the caveat that stuff there is really very, very far from being done. But at the same time, I always say is like, I don't know why you'd want to do it. I don't like playing beta stuff and see unfinished stuff and spoiling it for me because it's a lot of spoilers, right? And whatever you do, I always just ask that people just don't talk about whatever they see and just try to keep that.
I've been kind of keeping away.
To the Tribble forums.
Yeah, I've been kind of keeping away from it, except for the fact that I was going to watch a live stream not too long ago, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off on seeing what's going on. I want to just see what, I'm going to wait. I think I'm just going to wait. Although I am always one of those people that, at least when a new expansion comes out, I do like to help out and squash bugs because it always helps in the long run. But, pardon me.
Well, we don't usually put our story. We don't usually put our stories on Tribble unless we're doing an expansion, right? Whenever we put stuff on, we always leave our missions out and just put all the other features out there to play with. But when we're doing expansion with so much content, there's just we can't test it all internally, so we have to put it out there. Especially when we're doing something that's effectively a new faction, and there's all this tech behind things that could break, and so we just need to get more.
I don't know. I might jump in. I might help out.
You're just going to spoil it. You don't need to.
Maybe I won't.
Just be surprised.
Okay,
be
surprised.
Right on.
Thank you.
Everybody else, go ahead and play. But
yes, everyone else gets spoiled.
and what's funny is that usually spoilers don't bother me. They really don't.
Exactly.
But for some reason, this time around, because it's so unique,
this one seems special.
It does seem special. It's not. This is a wonderful tribute to the 50th anniversary.
Yeah. Well, it was when we were planning what we would do at the 50th. It was at first it's like, well, what are we gonna do? We could do this. We can do this. We could do Dominion. Says, wait a second, what are we talking about? It's the 50th anniversary of TOS. We're gonna do TOS, right? So let's do a TOS expansion. It says, how do we do that? And that was when the obvious came up. Yeah, we're gonna do a TOS expansion. The second question, how are we gonna do that, was not so obvious of an answer. But we.
So for our listeners, that might give you some clue as to how far out they have to plan these things.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I think it was like last year, maybe 2 years ago, when we were in the beginning of the Iconian War. You had mentioned how far out you were looking, and how some of the events coming up were going to affect story a year down the road, a year and a half down the road. Were you alluding to this expansion right now?
I was. So if you remember in season 10 or 9.5,
I want to say it was actually 9.
When you got introduced to the Krenim, right? When you first find the Krenim.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right, and then do Butterfly and find out what happens to the Tutarians, right? They erase the Tutarians. Well, all of that starts coming together, right, in the this anniversary episode, right, and so which starts kickstarting and then rolling back a little bit to New Dawn. We find out what happens with the Nakul. and the Tholians and Caldano and what happens to their star. And then you go in the anniversary episode, you go to the signing of the temporal accords, and then of course it gets crashed by, lo and behold, by the Sphere Builders and the Krenim, right? And now the Nakul have taken advantage of that, and now they're going back in time. And of course, you meet Voss in the last episode, who's the guy from that Archer kills in Enterprise. So spoiler, you're not going to get to kill Voss because Archer killed him, right? So,
hey, as far as I'm concerned, the whole damn temporal war was caused by the player anyway.
It's everything. Player did everything.
Player caused it all.
So
you only have yourselves to blame.
That's right. Sorry, wrong sequence, Mike.
Darn.
So all of these pieces have been laying we've been laying all these pieces out. So at the end of the last episode, all the Nakul go back in time, and Voss gets away because he obviously goes back to Nazi Germany, but there's all these Voss ships and go through this time portal, and they're everywhere. And like the last comment is, we're going to need help in different time periods to deal with this threat. Right?
And I love the blogs that you guys have been releasing, based on how the Nakul have been
different places where they end up in time.
It's been so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I love. I think one of my favorites though is the samurai one. Oh man, that one just.
I have to say my favorite one was the most recent one that Jesse did with Garrick.
That one was definitely interesting, yeah.
Oh, it made me so happy.
Makes us wonder, though.
Garrick makes me happy. I can't help it.
Makes us wonder.
Great character.
Any chance of who are some of the celebrities that we might be seeing in the expansion? Can you tell us anybody?
Well, we've already announced all but one celebrity, I think, at this point. So we've already announced Chris Doohan, who's obviously James Doohan's son, who's be playing Scotty, and we announced Walter Koenig.
Yay! Check
awesome.
Yeah, and we announced Chase Masterson, which doesn't seem to make sense for TOS, but it will. It will make sense. And we introduced her in season 10. So. And who else did we announce? Oh, we announced Matt Winston, right, as Daniels.
Yes.
Yes.
As a temporal agent, and I think that's all that we announced. And I may be missing somebody, but I know there's one more that we haven't announced. So
very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So the Agents of Yesterday happens 1 year. It was kind of hard to kind of nail down all the exact specifications of when things happened in the TOS era, but this season takes place in 2270. So that's technically like a year or two, I can't remember now, after TOS. Technically, I think the animated series happens in 2270, but we don't really, canon acknowledgement of animated series is tenuous at best. But that's the year we're taking place, because the movie takes place in 2271 or 2272.
Somewhere in there,
a ridiculous amount of technology happens in like 3 years, and Shatner aged like 20 years in like 2 years. It's like, but all the events of the TOS series have already happened by the time our show takes place. In the blog you can see that the Nakul are going out throughout time trying to mess with the timeline, and their motivation is, as you might surmise, is they want to restore their planet, right? Their star was destroyed by the Taxutat, by the Tholians, and they want to change time, and the temporal cords, the temporal agency says, no, you can't change time. And so what's the right thing? Should you change time to save a planet that's or by a device that was made by Future Federation, or do you is the timeline, do you keep the timeline pure? So from the Nakul's point of view, this was, our star was destroyed by your technology, and so we just want to restore our history. We want to restore our planet. And that's their motivation, right?
Yeah.
The and then we learn a little bit about the sphere builders, and we know what happened to their history. So they have some motivation about what's going on. The Krenim, they got burnt by, and so all these factions want to change history for their benefit, but the temporal court says no, you can't change.
And somehow we're still all
too dangerous.
Somehow we're still all fleet admirals.
And you're all fleet admirals.
We didn't get busted back down to ensign. I don't get it.
And well, it's also a little bit hypocritical considering the experiment that we tried with Romulus.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
but that was for the fate of the galaxy, right? Everybody would have died.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
True. We
said no. This is the wrong thing.
Right.
To do.
Yeah. Only because we were confronted by Borg.
Yeah, I was like, shut.
It's like,
okay.
Well, no, you went back. You go back in time, and it says like, no, this is not our values. It says we can't destroy the civilization. Just even if it means losing everything. That was the whole point of that. Yes, we had the technology, and everyone was panicking. It says we have no other choice, and you go and you do it, and you say, no, you can't do it, and that's just it was too high a price. So
well, it's been a blast to play for the past couple of years. It really has, and when we do get the story, I eat it up like candy. And I've always been a really big fan of the Crystalline Entity event. It keeps me in every day, which I can't say about a lot of other things in the game. But the CE, if you play it, how often does CE come out? Twice a year?
Sometimes twice. It might be once a year now because we rotate them out now with
the Mirror Universe,
and now the Breach. I think the goal is to get a fourth one in there. So
one quarter. That would be great.
One. So I think it used to be like twice a year or 3 times a year. And now I think it's. I can't recall the schedule. It's at least once a year. It might be as much as 2 times a year.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the big pack that I can't open yet.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got mine coming to me.
Yeah, it's got a whole bunch of stuff in it, namely a lot of really shiny ships.
It's got a lot of ships in it. Some of the other things I don't remember. I'm actually trying to bring up the blog so I don't look stupid.
Oh, you're not the only one. So here I go.
Trying to remember everything that was inside that pack.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was just about to do the same thing, but I
remember the ships. I remember the ships in there.
There's a lot of ships. There's a lot of stuff in this pack, and I'm gonna go back to news because that's where we're going, and. You have to kind of go back here because it was announced quite some time ago. I bought it quite some time ago.
Yes, I got it.
Yay. And, oh my gosh, come on, computer. Stop it.
While we're digging that up,
yes.
I wanted to mention that you guys have been releasing these blogs periodically that talk about all of the points of interest that we should be seeing in the expansion. And one of them that I thought was the most intriguing was Galorndon Core.
Galorndon Core, yeah.
Yeah.
We've never seen... We've never seen Galorndon Core. Well, we did, but we never seen it before.
Not in the height of its, not during the height of its civilization. Which the way that you guys have it represented there, I think it looks very, very beautiful, very modern. I mean, almost 20th, 21st century type of modern.
The screenshots from it. Well, the look there, if the artists were looking for was what did a exterior shot look like in TOS when they were filming an episode? Well, they would often film things on site, such as on the episode of Operation Annihilate when they go down to the planet's surface. They go to an on site, and the architecture is 60s. I don't even know what the right word is for it, but it's like 60s architecture building. So we decided to build Galorndon Core as though Gene Roddenberry took you on site to some 60s architecture building and then decorated it up with Romulan props. And so the building is meant to look like a building from the 60s. So that's what those exterior shots look like. So it's got that kind of deco. I don't know. Is it Art Deco?
I wouldn't even call it that.
Pardon me. I don't really know.
Kind of that,
I don't even know what would be the right.
I wouldn't even call it postmodern. Flair. It's 60s industrial.
Yeah,
late 60s industrial.
That's what the artists were going for to capture.
It was
look.
great.
But what we know about Galorndon Core from the TV show is that Galorndon Core is the planet where they did the Enemy Mine episode with Geordi and the other Romulan. They're
such a great episode
on that planet, and there's all this radiation and Geordi Visor basically breaking. They're trying to figure out how to get off that planet and get rescued. And of course, it's a total enemy mine kind of thing. And the Romulan says, "Oh, you're my prisoner." And says, "You're my prisoner of what? Right? We got to work together to get off this planet." And says, "Then the Enterprise can save us." Well, then I'll be your prisoner. And says, "Yeah, but otherwise we'll be dead." So we get to see what's the surface of Galorndon Core, and it's a radioactive wasteland, right? And then we learn a little bit about Galorndon Core and Voyager, where Janeway talks about the follies of Galorndon Core, where it used to be there was a Romulan colony there. It was a Romulan planet, and Admiral Chulak, or Captain Chulak, Commander Chulak, was basically his folly that he lost Galorndon Core. That was the Romulan, and so it completely ruined his career. So we learn a little bit about that, and we don't know exactly what happened. And then in Star Trek Into Darkness, actually, in one of the scenes where there's like a news ticker going by, and you can just kind of see in the news ticker going by.
I love nerds.
Right? Ugh. There's a little thing that says an strange explosion at Galorndon Core happened at Galorndon Core, and we're investigating.
Oh my God!
There's just a little tiny little ticker in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek Into Darkness.
That's
awesome.
That makes me just everything about makes me nerd happy. It's like we were inspired by this little thing that went across the screen on such and such, and I'm like, see, this great fan fiction is built on the same thing. A little thing. Oh, I love it. That's great.
Yeah. So we're going to find out. We're going to go there and find out some of the secrets of the
How fun.
And, that's awesome.
And we do the same thing. And we also do another one that wasn't seen on screen that we decided to pick up was the Battle of Caleb.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the one of the news announcements that came out on your website about that,
right.
And I'm perplexed.
And so in Deep Space Nine, we've got Kankor and Koloff, right? When they're right, they're talking about the great battle of Caleb and how they pasted the Federation with this. He says, and Kor did this great feat and completely took the Federation by surprise. Well, we're going to go to the Battle of Caleb.
That's awesome.
That is so
awesome.
I love it.
And we're also going to, from the looks of it, we're also going to be visiting some traditional TOS episodes as well, such as I've seen Babel, Cestus 3. It looks like it's there. I mean, so
it's not actually Cestus. See, everyone gets mixed up. It's not actually Cestus 3. It's actually Idrin 4, because Cestus 3 is the planet they go to when the Gorn was the Federation colony and the Gorn are attacking them, but then they chase after the Gorn and
right.
And then the Metrons make a planet at Edrin, who has only 3 planets, and they make a planet called Edrin 4, and they make and that's where the battle happens. So it's not, everyone thinks it's called Cestus, everyone internally keeps calling it Cestus. Says, no, that's
Thank
not
you
Cestus.
so
Cestus
very much.
Cestus is the planet that the Gorn said was theirs, but the Federation put a planet on it and put a colony on it for a science
and that's
station.
where the baseball comes from.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where the baseball comes from. But instead, so it's actually not Cestus, but it's the Gorn rock planet.
Cool.
Yes,
right.
That's totally cool.
All right, so
we could not do a TOS episode without the Gorn rock.
So who got to make Vasquez rocks in the game?
who got to make Vasquez Rock. So actually 3 artists worked on it. Nick worked on it. Then Adam Flores, I don't know if you know him. I don't think we've met Adam. Hi, Adam. And then David Kishner, I think, is a fairly newer environmental artist. I think it was him who was the third one. It might have been him or Scott Boyd. I can't remember the third artist who worked on it. So everybody worked on it a little bit because everybody had different strengths. So some people set it up the architecture, some people started doing all the props and
fun.
And someone redid all the like textures.
So tell me when you saw the art, it was as it was passing through, and you kind of every single time you didn't get like a big giggle face.
Oh, it's completely giggling until and then you see a Goran go and pick up a boulder and throw it at you. It's just there's so many. There's the giggly and the squee moments working on this are just there are no comparison. It's I mean I'm a huge Star Trek fan. Everybody knows like my favorite has been DS9, but I grew up on TOS and there's just something special and sacred and warm about TOS that's very different than any of the other Star Trek shows, even no matter how good they are. It's like when Neil deGrasse Tyson talked about what's the best starship, and he says it doesn't matter for the time when it first came out. That original Constitution is even though it technologically and as far as sophistication and detail is nowhere in comparison to say like the Galaxy class or Defiant or any other starship out there. It's just special. It changed science fiction, right? It changed the way we saw space travel. Nothing, and so it's what it did is puts it way above what other interpretations of Star Trek did. And so when we make all these when we make all these things and you see all these moments and things start coming together, it's very you can't really describe the feeling.
Well, I can tell you that just the artwork that we have seen coming out, especially from the Agents of Yesterday's pack that has come out, the Temporal Agent pack that you can purchase, we're looking at, scrolling down now, it looks like 12 ships. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, it's huge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 ships. Some of which are all from that TOS era, the Constitution, the data list, which is so kind of trippy cool.
Yes, the coolest ugly
ship. The coolest, serious. Well, yeah, the coolest ugly ship. The Gemini is reminiscent of a ship of that I loved so very much.
Yes, it totally reminds us of from the Vanguard and the Seekers book series.
It reminds us a little bit of the Archer class, which is so very cool. Except it's got 4 nacelles.
I'm not familiar with the books.
Oh my God, they're so cool.
There was certainly no intention of trying to
not at all
to emulate any other ones. There's only so many projections you can put in a cell.
And to say that the Archer class isn't heavily inspired by some of the other art that this was inspired by is exactly right. Yes. So I can tell you that exactly they're Star Trek ships, and there's no doubt that they're Star Trek ships, and they're very very cool.
Yeah, like I'm wondering in the new Star Trek Beyond trailer whether or not the Franklin ship is that supposed to be an NX, but like what do you do? Okay, we'll put the nacelles up and attach
exactly.
To the saucer.
There's only so many places you can put a nacelle.
Yeah.
But the Nautilus is trippy as hell. 20th. Let's see so it's supposed to be a 23rd century data list. And
inspired by. So to be clear, what's going on here? So is that you get tiers 1 through 5 as TOS ships,
right?
So you can always play for your progression in TOS, right? So but at
tier 6.
Once you get to tier 6, we open up all these other ships. Each one of those ships in the 26th, these are all 26th century ships. Okay, if you notice, they're inspired by the Enterprise.
Yes, they are.
They all have.
I love that ship.
All of these they're from the same era, and if you notice, every single one of them has the same configuration as their counterpart in the TOS.
And that's what I think is so cool.
So the Nautilus is part of the Daedalus, and the Perseus is the same as the Theseus, and then of course you've got the Ranger then becomes a Paladin because there's a Ranger and a Paladin, right? And so they have the same configurations, and so now you have all of those ships at T6, or if you buy this pack, or let's just say you have either you bought the pack, or let's just say you bought the
starter
and the Ranger. Let's say you have the Paladin and the Ranger. Let's say you have the Paladin and Ranger only. When flying the Paladin, you can change the costume to the Ranger instead. So that way,
nice.
6, you can fly as TOS, but you're technically flying the 26th century version. So the costumes are interchangeable if you own both.
Okay, so now you made me you made me happy. That's really cool. Although I have to say,
so you can fly around. So you can fly around
or the 23rd century stuff. I'm a big fan of the J.
Yeah.
I always have been. So I know a lot of people aren't. I don't care. I am. I love that thing very, very much.
Based on what you just said, I'm kind of heartbroken then, because there isn't a tier 6 inspired by Constitution.
I think that was an intentional thing. What do you think, Mike?
I think so too, but
I have no comments about that at this time.
Okay.
I love it.
But then there's so also to be clear that all these ships that we just mentioned, the 23rd and the 27th century ships, they can be flied by either a TOS player or your Federation player. Okay.
Okay.
So your existing Federation.
Great.
Okay. The next ships, the 31st century ships that are kind of inspired by the Wells class, they're from that era.
That would be the Eternal class and the Ouroboros class.
Yes, those ships can be flown by any faction.
Okay.
Nice.
So your Klingon and your Romulan can fly those because they're from the 31st century, where supposedly everybody is just one big faction.
I like it.
And they don't have a look that's so Federation looking that they couldn't be acceptable by.
And the other things that come in the pack for our listeners are a set of unique and really fun TOS uniforms. A lot of us already have TOS uniforms from our play in the game. However, the TOS uniforms for Federation that are available in this pack are
sweet.
Are actually torn. They're actually ripped uniform variants, which is action figure makes me happy.
Is there like a Kirk with his ripped shirt variant in there?
I mean you can.
I don't think you don't get the exposed pec.
Okay,
but you do get tears. Yeah.
Okay. Just we'd clarify.
Yeah. The Andorian uniforms from the original series, so the Andorians that we see in Babel.
Yes, as seen in Babel.
Are wearing that. Same with the Tellarite uniform, that funky kind of duct tape uniform. It's really what it looks like.
Multipass.
What was that?
Multipass.
Doesn't it look like
Lilo Dallas?
It looks like a little it's plastic Lilu. It's pretty funny. Yeah. And then the Vulcan Ambassador uniform, also Mirror Universe, and
the Vulcan Ambassador. To be clear, that is the uniform that Sarek wore on
Babel, on the original series Babel. Journey, cool. And then TOS Mirror Universe, and also the TOS Command Tunic. And it's my understanding this is the same one that some of us already have. Correct? Great.
Yes.
Other extras are
there are some things in this pack that some people may have bought already, but we couldn't leave the T1 Connie out. We couldn't leave the tunic out, right? So we had to just.
And it's actually kind of nice to have it included in a pack. Again, especially for hopefully an influx of new players. The temporal extras that you get can specialization qualifications, upgrade kits, and a title, and a couple of titles: temporal agent, chrononaut, and time traveler. So very, very cool pack. I know a lot of people who've already purchased it and can't wait to open it up.
Yep.
And do we have a date, or can you say a date, or give us a time
We announced July.
You announced July. Wow, that's great.
Wow,
so before the convention. That's wonderful news.
It would be before the convention.
Yay.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's great news. That means I can play it before we see you in Las Vegas.
Yes, you will be. You will be able to play it before you see it in Vegas.
And Cryptic is going to have a presence there this year, correct? Can you?
Yes, we will be at Vegas. We will have. I don't think we've said anything, but we will be there. I've already bought my ticket, and I've already bought my hotel, and so several others. So all the faces you've seen before will be there. As far as what we'll be doing, I don't think we've announced.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I'd love to tell you, but I think
I don't want spoilers. This is weird. This year, I really just don't want spoilers. I want to play and I want to have fun, and I'm looking forward to kind of playing in such a unique storyline. Now, I mean, it's going to be very fun. I'm looking forward to it in a big way. I always forget to ask you, so I'm just going to ask you right up front now. What is it that you want to talk about? Are there things?
What is it that I want to talk about? Well, I guess what's fun to talk about is some of the stupid, crazy challenges we've had to do just to make this TOS expansion work, right? I mean, all the questions that we had to ask ourselves and sacrifices.
I just have to ask: is there like a huge like building long whiteboard with the timeline?
There is. I have a photo of the whiteboard notes that we took, and I'll release that later.
That's awesome.
Of showing like all these.
Because there's just no way to get around it. I'm sorry, an Excel spreadsheet does not cut it. You have to put it on a wall. You do. You have to.
Yeah, we have our big story meetings, like overarching. What are we going to be doing? About every 3 months, right towards the end of every season, we say, okay, let's make sure that everything we've done, because we obviously make changes along the way, and see where we're at and so where we're going to go. So we just had one a couple weeks ago to talk about all our plans all the way to expansion 4. So.
Nice.
And planning all those next episodes out. And says, okay, we need to know this much detail for the next work we're going to do, and then this is a little less detail, and then it gets a little less and less details as we go. But we know like where we need to get to expansion 4, and then we know where we're going to need to get to expansion 5. That's as far out as we go right now. And so okay, what do we need to do to get there? And where can we pull in from the IP, and where can we make sure we can start laying seeds now in the upcoming stuff to make sure that so it makes sense when you one of those things. So I like to do that.
Was there a day that you just sat down, kind of looked around and went, oh crap, I'm lost?
I don't know what the hell I'm going to do after expansion 5. It's like, what are we going to do? It's like, screw you, future us. We'll figure that out later.
Expansion 5 would take you to what? 2019, 2020, somewhere in that range?
I guess we should advance the clock at some point, right? So it's 2024. As far as like our actual
like real
live,
time,
real time. I don't live in real time. I live in Stardate. So it lost me for a second. I don't know. I mean, generally we release our expansions around every year and a half to 2 years. We release expansions, and every 3 months we're releasing seasons. So.
Right.
So
this is it's been such a kick. I know that you guys, I mean, for as large as this expansion is going to be, and for as intricate as it's going to be story-wise, especially in light of the fact that we're going to have multiple perspectives, my condolences to the writers. Just saying that now, I understand what that person had to go through, and
well, yeah. So you have to. So from that perspective, one of the things that like I get to like plan the story, right, and then I'll work it out. So this is the story I'm going to do, and then I'm like, here, good luck with that. I hand to the writer.
What a guy.
So like the plans on what we're going to do. So this is going to be, okay, we're going to do the Iconians, and we're going to do this, and then we plan like kind of the over arcs, and then this episode's going to be about this, and the episode this. But all the writing and all the details, that falls to the writer. So one of the things he had to do, for instance, is take all the characters and write down, because we were getting lost. Okay, this is what happens to Scotty. This is his timeline perspective of how events unfold for him. Because remember, you've already met Scotty in the Davidian arc,
right?
Yes.
Right, and so it's like, okay, what is his perspective of seeing events throughout the timeline? Okay, let's take Chekhov and let's see what his perspective is. What about the player? What about this guy, this bad guy? What about we already met Krog, the not cool assassin in the last episode, right? So
yes.
So what's what? So you meet her in the 27th century, but you're going to meet her again. And so did she meet you? So at what order did she meet you in? Right? So everyone's meeting people in different orders.
Gosh, it's so fun.
And so we had to try to keep track of all of that in this big spreadsheet of like this.
That's what I was asking.
And so that way when we get to when the player meets them, we can make sure the dialogue is accurate and like, hey, it's you, and you're like, who the hell are you? And so or vice
Temporal
versa.
mechanics makes my head hurt.
You'll meet someone that you've met before and they don't know who you are. So yeah, it is. I don't think we're ever going to do this again.
We're done now. Yeah. It's funny is that
so we've had to keep
one of the things that we were talking about with the G&T show is, we're doing our 50 for 50, where last year we put out the big poll of all of the live action television series in every single episode, and we had our listeners vote on how well they liked every individual episode, and then based on those scales took the top 50, and now we're talking about those top 50 of all time, the top 50 episodes. And one of the things that we all cracked up about was, for the most part, although we haven't revealed like the top 8 yet, for all of the grief that Star Trek fans give Star Trek for its use and sometimes overuse or appearance of overuse of time travel as a storytelling gimmick, it's amazing to us how many times in the top that they all choose the time travel episodes as what their favorites are. So for all of the hell that you guys are going through right now, pretty much, and for all of the grief that people will give you because you're using time travel, don't listen to them, because I can pretty much guarantee that time travel, it's going to be the thing. They're going to be, oh my God, this is awesome. Yeah. We get to go back and see Scotty. We get to go back and see Kirk, and it's just going to be great.
Yeah.
Because
so there's two.
Go ahead.
Yes. Who?
Mike.
Oh, okay.
Mike.
Because Terry had mentioned the 50 for 50, I would like to get your comment on a theory I proposed.
Oh, God. We're taking a squirrel here,
yes,
Al,
this is a
just
squirrel.
so you know.
I had suggested that Edith Keeler, the Kirk love interest from City on the Edge of Forever, I had proposed that she is actually a temporal agent working in conjunction with the Na'Gul. So, do you care?
I tell you. I love him. I do.
Yeah.
The reasoning is, because if she had lived, if she wasn't hit by the car, she would have done all of these things that would have essentially weakened the United States position and empowered, and then with the Na'Gul working with Germany, would have empowered them and allowed them to essentially take over the world. But because she was hit by a car, it never happened. Yet in City on the Edge of Forever, McCoy goes back, saves her life, and at that point, that future becomes possible again. So, is she a temporal agent or not? I would like to get your thoughts.
If she's a temporal agent, she's a really bad one.
Well, you guys have released stories of Na'Gul failing.
I love the fact that
I'm
she
just
might
saying.
be I personally...
Because the Na'Gul would look both ways before crossing.
I was the one that said, I think she probably had a gun in her purse and she was going to try to off him at the movies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Killed
man.
Kirk.
Too funny.
It was just some
She could have been a sleeper agent. Maybe she was a sleeper agent.
Oh my god, too funny.
Could have been. I'm just saying. But yeah, I just thought that was fun, and based on
stranger things have happened. So.
And based on some of the things that you guys have been releasing, I thought it was, I thought it was appropriately funny and interesting. So.
Now, I'm sure that we probably already killed your train of thought, but did you happen to remember what you were going to say?
What was I going to say? What were we talking about before that?
Well, it was the 50 for 50, and
you were talking about
the time
top
travel
episodes
about,
and time travel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. There was two reasons why we had to go into time travel. Well, we had to do a TOS expansion, and we actually did consider at one point being where you actually just are current character, and you go back in time to the 23rd century, and so you're actually from 2409, and you're not from the 23rd century, but you're pretending to be because you're trying to fix this threat. But I said, no, we can't do that because that kind of cheapens the idea of you actually being a TOS character. It has to be about you actually being a TOS character and not time travel. Because if we did, then your first experience would be in 2409 because we'd have to set the stage of you being from 2409 and so I wanted you to, when you first turn it on, it's like, boom, space to final frontier, and there's a ship orbiting the planet, right? That's your first scene, and that has to be TOS. If we started off in something else, all of a sudden it's not a TOS expansion. It's just a time travel episode. So we had to figure out how do we get you back, because we can't build a separate game. So we have to get you back into 2409, and then we figured, well, what would be the why would it happen? And so we said, well, they never finished the Temporal Cold War in Enterprise, so let's pick that up, and that could be our hook. And so that was stuff we talked about a long time ago, because as we started setting those pieces in place. But so we kind of had to do time travel if we were going to do a TOS expansion, and then we just kind of and then as I started rewatching Enterprise, it's like, there's a lot of really things that don't make sense here, and that were just, seems like people were not really sure where they were going with this, did they? And then they kind of wrapped it up at the end of Stormfront with the not cool, but not really. There's still a lot of stuff here that's not clear. And it says, I want to fix that, and I want to give some answers to that. So
I absolutely love the idea of this being such a unique opening, such a, the idea of it being a 2409 or a 23rd century character, and or I'm sorry, 22nd, right? And
23rd century, 22nd.
Right, 23rd. I was right the first time, yay. But the idea of it actually being kind of getting that same, I have this idea that we're going to get the same feeling that I did when I watched the Enterprise Mirror episodes, when they actually had a whole new opening, and you kind of went, oh, this is something different. This is something unique. This isn't going to be a regular Enterprise episode. I'm kind of getting that feeling that that's what we're going to see from Agents of Yesterday is, a completely different perspective. And that actually surprised me today. I did not realize that's what it was going to be, and I'm very excited about that. And also,
you don't go back in time.
Yeah, you are there. That you were already there in that period in time, and I think that's really wonderful. And also something very unique for any game that's out there right now. I don't think that there's much out there.
I don't think anyone out there has ever done a TOS expansion.
No, you know what I mean. It's something unique where you actually are kind of re-experiencing that you're getting a game within a game, kind of.
Yes.
Really,
yes.
And that's kind of cool.
It is what is challenging, beyond challenging, the level of detail and all the things that we keep finding. Oh, we got to change this. We got to change this. It is so massive because we're not just talking about making new ships and making new costumes. Okay, it seems really easy at first, and it says, why don't they? This seems it's just as straightforward. No, you have to. Okay, I have to change the hypos, right? The hypos can't be the same hypos, right? I have to change. We have to change. You have to change the music. You have to change the. You have to change the UI, and we unfortunately didn't get to change the UI as much as we liked. It was just too much of an endeavor, but we did change it a little bit.
How fun!
You have to consider all the drop tables in the game have to completely change, right? Because every time you kill a critter, you might get like a plasma rifle, right? Every single algorithmically generated item that drops in the game has to be all brand new when you're in a TOS era, because you can't change, because you have to get, you have to
period specific items.
See,
period specific items, right?
Wow.
Right. So all of that is different. You have to all your bridge officer kits. You can't launch quantum mortars.
Sure you can.
Things quantum mortars, right?
I want to win.
So we have to come up with a subset of all these TOS kit powers, right? All the space powers, every single beam has to change. All the critters you fight, they can't use the old beams. They have to be all different beams. They have to be all different torpedoes. You can't launch.
This really is a different game.
Right? You can't. It's smaller. It's not the whole thing, right? We didn't. But how do we make a critter group of Romulans or Klingons or Gorn and not use all of the effects and powers that are in the 24/9? They can't do gravity well.
Oh my gosh!
All of those have to change, because that's all. Those are all effects. Even like when you do like a boarding team or even or engineering team, and the little sound effect that comes up, that is the transporter effect that happens. That's a 24/9 sound effect. That's a 24/9 transporter effect. We got to change all the transporter effects. When the Klingons beam down, they have their own transporter effect. They have to have a completely different one. All of those things have to change, and it's just overwhelming amounts of stuff, from design and from environment art and character art and effects. All the photon torpedoes are completely different. So that means all the photon torpedo spreads and the photon torpedo high yields and all the other different versions of photon torpedo are all completely different. There's like 9 versions of photon torpedo when you fire it, because you're going to be able to take that photon torpedo from TOS and get to level 60 and then apply like a tailpipe torpedo or apply a beam torpedo to bridge, or all the other different type of bridge officer that shifts your torpedo power. Every single one of those has to be rebuilt to match a TOS photon torpedo. So mind-bogglingly amounts of little detail that have to be matched. How about this? Andorians don't have forehead ridges. Okay? Their antennas are in the back of their head instead of the front of their head. So all the Andorian costumes have to be completely different until you get to 2409, and then you unlock the ability to look like a 2409 Andorian. So that has to be a whole new species with a whole different set of unlocks. So many little details like that.
I can't wait.
It's just ridiculous. You can't even say, and the technobabble is completely different. You can't say things like tachyon beam, because that was not a thing. That was a TNG thing.
That's so awesome.
So it's so much detail. I know we didn't get it all right, but we're trying so hard to get all of that right, because it's so important. It's really important to me. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't have this technobabble in this line. You can't say that there was a chronometric distortion and we're going to use inverse tachyons. That's really easy after a while, because we've gotten really used to that. It says, nope, can't say that. You got to have to dumb it down.
Weird kind of variation, Captain.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
so
we're having
awesome.
Pure energy, right? You have to do that's. It's so getting your mindset for your dialogue is just so that amount of stuff is just mind-boggling, and far more than we had anticipated.
Wow.
That we had to deal with. as you kept going along, yeah, can't do that. There's a couple ways we had to make concessions. So here's the first one that that came up. Do you have personal shields in TOS?
Animated series you did. So.
Yes, that is it. That is the year that we're doing this. Thank you. That is exactly my out.
Bravo.
In 2270, they had personal shields in the animated series, so thus that is how the technology is. But everyone kept arguing, you can't do it. It. Says, dude, I cannot rebalance the entire game. All the weapons, the whole game is balanced around shields and bleed through. I'm gonna have to do it. And then it's like, yo, in animated series they had it. Okay. Boom! It's a thing. Now it's canon. So, but that was like a big argument.
TAS is a game.
It found a way.
So that was a big thing, right? Here's one of my favorites.
I love the fact that Mike just pulled that out of his butt too.
I love TAS.
That was excellent. Well done. So here's one that I told this story before. So but it's one of my favorites. Uniform color. Okay, what do we do about uniform color? So, in Star Trek TNG, okay, command is red, and operations is gold, and science is blue. Let's just take science off the table because science is always blue or some sort of blue.
Yeah.
So that never changes. And so, but command was red and operations was gold. So operations included security, operations, and engineering. Right. Okay, that was what operations.
It was yes. Command, security,
but
tactical.
Yeah. Now, and no, it wasn't tactical. It was. Oh yeah. As far as gold. Yeah. So, but when we did Star Trek, we said, we couldn't. We needed 3 classes, right? We wanted 3 professions, and so engineering, tactical, or science, and we couldn't. We didn't want 2 of those uniforms to be gold, and we didn't want one of those professions to be command because everyone would be command. And what does the command do? They don't do any. They don't have any. They don't. There's not a. A gameplay trope as far as like tank and and healer and DPS, right? So we changed the colors a little slightly and said tactical was red and engineering was gold and science was easy. So which mostly lined up because Worf started with a red shirt and then he went to a gold shirt and then he went back to a red shirt and so so he was mostly tactical. So going back to TOS had the opposite colors, right? So they had red as operations and gold as command. But the red shirts are the security / tactical officers. They're actually in operations. So they're and they actually have the little engineering symbol on their shirt. They don't have the tactical star on their shirt. Okay, but Sulu was the tactical officer / pilot. He was a tactical officer because he's the one who fired all the weapons. Even though he was the pilot, he wore a gold shirt and he had a star in his uniform. So what color is engineering and what color is tactical in Star Trek Online TOS? And so this was a big argument because, we know engineers are red, but tactical officers were also red. So do we have red tactical officers and red engineers? Because the red shirts, that's the thing, right? You're a red shirt, you're the security officer.
Team, right?
But their symbol is the curly Q. That's the engineering symbol. Okay, well that's not wrong. Well, but Sulu was tactical gold. But gold's command. But gold have the stars on their shirt. And so it's like, okay, so what if we swap it and just say that, tactical is red, and that leaves engineering gold. Well, engineering is not gold, right? Not in TOS. Scotty definitely wore a red shirt. Oh, but he wore a gold shirt in the first couple episodes. Yeah, but I don't think that's really the standard. So we kept going back and forth with this because not only with the colors of the shirts, but also matching the emblem on the
Delta,
on the insignia, right? On the insignia, and then we settled. All right, we just have to go with. We need 3 colors because we need distinguishing. Now, personally, the player can change the colors to whatever they want, so it doesn't matter. But what are the default colors? Like, what do the NPCs wear, and what do you start off when you first make the character? Scotty wore a red shirt. He's an engineer. That's done. Okay. Well, I guess that leaves gold, and gold will have to be tactical then. but the UI says red is tactical in Star Trek Online, and the engineering is gold, and it's completely opposite. What are we going to do about it? We're going to change all the colors in the game for TOS, and so those problems just kept coming, and I was like, we could not solve that problem. So and so in the end, we just went with that. It's just okay. TOS engineers will be red, tactical will be gold. They will have those. The symbols will match they'll match TOS and they'll match the rest of our game. But the UI will still be red. And it says because we have to, because when you go into the future, right, all of a sudden
all the colors go back to the way they were.
So we said we could leave the UI gold for tactical in TOS, but then we're going to swap the colors when you go into the future, and that's just going to be confusing. Yeah. So like, oh my god, this quagmire of problem with this stupid little color just was something that we just argued with and just came up with. Oh, if we did this way, we did it this way. So
I think the resolution though is pretty good as far as the visuals of the characters in the game. You're going to want to be as true to the visuals on that, but as far as the visuals on your UI, you want it to be consistent because, to be honest with you, there are, especially those of us who've been playing the game for years, are gonna look at that and it's second nature. I think you did. I think you made the right decision.
What about new players?
I think you made the right decision.
It was the only decision to make. I mean, we had to honor. It's like, well, when it comes right down to it, we have to honor the IP. We just have to do that. But then it still became a problem. It says security wore red shirts. Mm-hmm. And so what is the IP? What does the IP say to tactical officers? Is it red or are they gold? So that wasn't even all that clear.
I can imagine just sitting in and listening to these arguments. I would have laughed my butt off.
Wow.
Oh, it was
I do not envy
between me
you.
and lead artist. It was me and Thomas Moroni and Sam, our lead artist, just trying to figure out what to do with that. Then you have to realize that the Delta that everyone loves, that's Enterprise's
That's exactly
logo.
Right. Every other ship has their own insignia.
Every other ship had a different logo. Right. So we made 90 different logos.
Holy cow.
Are you kidding me?
We made 90 different logos that will be available. You can choose for your shirt insignia. Even though everybody will choose.
No, I won't.
And
I totally won't.
Everyone's going to choose the Enterprise.
Screw that.
You're going to pick your own emblem?
No. Lieutenant Commander Scholl's on the Defiant, baby. She's going to have a different patch.
So there's a Defiant logo.
Right on. Right on.
Oh.
So we've got all those logos from the shows, and all three classes. So they made 90. So there's 60 different logos times 3.
Holy crap.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
That is totally awesome.
And we kind of fell across that a little late. It's like, oh, hell, we got to update all the NPCs, right? To make sure they don't have all Enterprise logos on them. So I don't know if we're going to catch all of those.
Thank you for trying, though. That's freaking awesome.
So you asked me what I want to share. I wanted to share you the mind-numbing amount of detail that goes into this, as opposed to why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do more of this, or why didn't you, it's because this was far bigger than it can imagine. It's like when people say, why don't you do a Captain Proton or do a Dixon Hill thing? It's like, because it's like, that's an entire new game of like every single prop and effect and everything has to be completely brand new for one Captain Proton episode. I'd love to do it, but it's not a matter of just turning the color off, right? It's a lot of stuff.
Wow.
That's amazing. That really is
awesome.
Amazing. And throughout all of this, I have to ask, is it the STO team itself, or did you guys use one of your subsidiaries to work on all of the console conversion? Because you guys are coming out to PS4 and Xbox One. What the hell? All at the same time was this going on?
Yeah, let's not do that again. We had to hit big for the 50th, but
holy crap,
that was a really big challenge. We actually just built a separate team for the console, and it's a small team, and it's some of the people from STO and some people from that we moved around from other projects, so to work on that conversion, and it's one team, but it's two separate teams. I don't know. It's there. If you're working on console, you're just working on console. Right. If you're working on STO Live, you're just working on STO Live, except for management. The management is running
both teams.
The art lead. Yeah, the EP reposts. Myself and the lead artists are managing both of those.
I have a question that's not directly related to Agents of Yesterday, but the answer might be related. But I want to talk about the Schrodinger's cat situation that the last episode left us in.
What did you say? Did you say the shortage of cats?
The Schrodinger's.
Schrodinger cat. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the Federation president and the Klingon chancellor, are they dead? Are they alive? I don't know where they are. Will we get a resolution to that sometime soon?
Yes, well. Captain Okeg did nothing happened to him. He, the Tellarite girl jumped in front and saved him, and no, the Chancellor won't be dead. So we there's times that we've wanted to kill major characters like Quinn or the Chancellor and stuff like that, but because they're so integrated throughout the entire game and contacts and everywhere and just hanging around, that it's just impossible to kind of actually remove that character that is like that. And you can kill characters that are part of episodes, but if they're part of the world, it's basically
it would be very difficult.
Extremely impractical. Right.
Yeah, that was like a Walking Dead season, the most recent Walking Dead season finale. It was like, what?
Sure.
Who died?
Yes, we just left him on the floor.
I know. It was like, what happened? Are they dead? Are they alive? I mean, yeah, she dove in front, but was it a hit? Was it a miss? So I was like, when will I get the end of the story?
Okeg is my vice in the game, right? Okeg is me, right? So Okeg is Gecko spelled backwards.
That's so great.
Right?
That's awesome.
Okeg is Gecko. So that's and my personal character looks just like Okeg, and he's Captain Gecko in the game. So that's just my so that's my guy. So he's not gonna die. So
okay,
maybe I'll kill him when I leave the game or something. Like you did.
That's awesome. What a very.
I was very pleased to see that we finally got to see him in game rather than just alluded to or something.
Just hearing about him.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Well, I know that. Believe it or not, Al, I'm actually the one that is going to have to kind of put the reins on today's conversation. I do have commitments that I must stay to, so I do want to kind of wrap things up. I want to make sure that I address everything, though, because I did want to be able to make sure that we talked briefly, if we can, about the fact that I was very shocked to find out that you guys were going to go to console, and not surprisingly, for those who may not know, yes, console's coming out, but people who play on console will play with people on console. They won't actually play with the people who play on PC. They're going to be two different servers, correct?
That is correct for a multitude of
well,
reasons.
It makes perfect sense. I can thoroughly understand why.
Not everybody understands why, but the I mean, if you play Neverwinter, they're on separate servers, and if you play Neverwinter, you notice that the content on console lags behind what's on PC. So PC always gets it first, and then it goes to console. And the real truth of the matter is that when you put something on console, you have to get things approved through certification through Microsoft or PlayStation, through Sony, and that process takes a long time. So if we release something on PC and there's a bug or an exploit or something's crashing, we can just go and just fix it that next day. We can just say, oh, this is bad, just fix it, or even just do a hot fix without even taking down the server and put a fix out right away. If we were to put that on Xbox and there was an exploit or a bug, we couldn't fix it for 3 months. So because the whole game has to go through certification through Xbox.
Ta-da!
Okay? I think the fastest it can go through is like about 6 weeks. But if you do a new build, you send them a build and they test the whole thing, and then before they say it's okay to go live. So there is no way we can do that. So basically the PC goes live and then it's the filter, and then once all the bugs are worked out and we make sure it's nothing critical, then we can send it out through certification through Xbox. And so that's what happens on Neverwinter, that's what happens here. And because they are out of sync, it is impossible for players to be on the same server because you're not working off the same server data. It's impossible for people to be talking to each other if they have completely different stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons. There are other reasons that I'll refrain from getting into, the difficulties with the. But to be clear, it's not like there was a big announcement about Microsoft saying that we're willing to openly talk about cross-server stuff, but it's not like they have a thing in place to let that all work. It's like, yeah, we're willing to talk about it and figure it out, but in places
it's not like a switch they just turn on.
It's like 5 to 10
it's not a switch,
Right.
Yeah, it's so. I see that being much more applicable to something that is a box product that all three can be certified, and then it's just launched and everybody is happy. Yeah. If we're going to keep releasing content on a regular basis, we're not prepared to do that. It's not really practical, and the amount of risk for console would be enormous.
Wow.
So the game is getting a new graphic pass for console. How
and
soon?
PC too.
How soon will the PC get their graphic pass? I had heard
the next release after the console release.
Okay, so the console will get the graphic pass first, and then we'll get it shortly after. Well,
yes, because all of that work is because we're working in. I'll just say we're working in branch 64.
Oh my God, I remember when it was Xbox, like 12.
Yeah. So we're branching on branch 64 for X3, and console is in branch 65. Okay, and so we'll launch 64 first, and then all the graphic work is being done on 65, and then once that goes out live, then when we do branch 66, or we'll probably actually just jump to 70, when we work on that, then everything that was worked on Xbox will go into the main game, and then that will go out with the next release. So the next season that comes out after X3 will get all of that. We'll get all of those graphic updates, mostly lighting, as well as a lot of general what we've been working on. Also, is just generally cleaning up. We're playing all the missions and fixing as many bugs as we can, and cleaning making sure everything is nice and tidy and clean and gets through certification. So you're going to see a quality pass overall going through that will come through on PC shortly after the console launch. There's some other quality of life stuff that's happening that we haven't talked about for there. But so a lot of improvements that goes to console then will all come to PC.
So the information when console goes live, when is that? Mm-hmm. By the way.
We have
you haven't.
That's a nice try.
That was slick, Terry. That was very slick. You almost got him there.
Actually, it was just me kind of going, did they announce it? It was really kind of a bimbo thing.
No, we have not announced that at all. No. We did just announce that Neverwinter's going to PlayStation 4 though. So they just announced it a couple of days ago. So we've been working internally with our PlayStation for our PlayStation engine, our whatever it is that those guys do to make it work on PlayStation, because it's a lot harder than getting on an Xbox. Because Xbox is just a PC, PlayStation is something different. So,
wow. Will the console get Agents of Yesterday?
They will, but not at launch.
Okay.
Because of the delay.
Because of all the bugs
always
need to be worked out.
Yeah, so once we release that, and then that's going to bake on PC for on the PC servers for a while, and then as that bakes and make sure we release it, then we'll submit that to certification. So they will most likely always be like a season behind on something like that on console.
Okay. Well, it makes to me it actually makes sense, just because I understood the difference and I had that kind of understanding, seeing as though I do have friends who work in the console industry, that the reasons why they just don't talk to each other that well. So it'll
give players time to get acclimated to the game before getting introduced to something wholly new.
Yeah, we're actually console will get the whole game. So there's like all these questions about whether it's a dumbed down game. There's a couple minor things that we tweaked, but for the most part, you're getting like 99% of the game. So for instance, instead of getting like power levels, they'll just get 3 or 4 power stances. So you can get like all power to engines, all power to weapons, just like the presets that are on PC, but you won't be able to adjust the knobs individually like one power level at a time. But they're getting the entire power level system is just in presets. And we probably won't we'll like I said, we're not going to get they won't get Agents of Yesterday, and we talked about, we're still figuring out, should we give, like if you're a carrier, are we going to be able to give you all the carrier commands? There's only so many things we can put on a 12-button controller. So there's a couple little things that we make concessions for, but you're getting like 99% of the game. It's a couple little minor tweaks to make it controller friendly. There's a blog coming out really soon. I don't think they released it yet. That will explain a lot about how the control scheme will work. We talked a little bit about it, but there's going to be a high detail blog talking about how the control scheme is going to work on console. Because that was the major amount of work. In addition to the lighting changes, the major amount of work is reworking the entire UI and reworking the entire control scheme to make sure that that you have the full experience. We actually considered, should we just strip out a lot of the game and make it simpler and smaller, but every time we pulled on something, it's like, okay, we can just take out what if we just take out crouch and aim? Do we need crouch and aim on the ground? Says, yeah, we don't need those. And all of a sudden, all these traits and all these gear items that work with crouch and aim all of a sudden broke. And so it's like, oh, all of a sudden, because there's this Both shield, when you crouch, you get a shield generator that pops up in front of you, and there's these traits that modify your aiming and your crouching. So we're gonna have to pull those traits out. Well, those are in lockboxes and those are in reps, so we have to change all those things. I was there's like 16 of those.
You pull a thread and everything starts to unravel.
Everything, yeah. So it's like, the hell with it. We're just putting the whole game in. We kept trying to pull little things out like that all the time to try to make it a little simpler. And says, no, we can't. So we're going to have to figure out a way to make it work. So people wonder if it's going to be, I don't want to play dumbed down. It's not a dumbed down version of the game at all. It's just,
it's just going to be a unique control, right?
Pleased. Yeah, it's just, I think people will be surprised how fun it is. I actually now prefer playing on the controller.
Seriously? I have zero talent. So. I've never been able to handle a control ever. I mean, I'm still trying to get through the stupid GameCube Dragon one. I can't do it. I can't make him hop right. I'm a PC gamer. I can't help it.
I am a PC gamer. Definitely, I'm a PC gamer. But some of the changes, some of the things we made, just really make things a lot easier.
Well, I might end up
allows you to do things that I never would have taken that power before because I don't know how to use it. But all of a sudden, it's like, wow, this is much easier to use this thing on a console, on a controller.
Wow.
So more details of that.
Well, some of the post or the blog that was just posted about the graphics pass, I'm very excited about that. I'll be patient. I'm looking forward to it after the console is launched, whenever that is.
That'll come on PC. I mean, it's actually already working on PC. It's not like we're building this exclusively on the console. When you build this stuff, you actually build it on PC,
right? And
then and the engines just gets converted into so all our work is done on the PC. So it all works. That was Sam talked about that a little bit in detail on the last Priority One podcast. To talk about some of the lighting engine stuff. But basically, we only had a limited number of lights we could put in a map, and now we've got I guess it's unlimited number of lights that you can put on the map, and it's on every piece. So,
some of the screenshots I've seen are just beautiful, just beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
Looking forward to it.
A lot of the older maps that you see that look really dated and like old Quake maps, all of a sudden they look really you can see now. Oh, they were actually built really well. They were just lit really poorly because our old lighting engine just couldn't handle that.
Are people who I'll just ask for my own personal thing. I have a pretty good rig, and I have a pretty nice graphics card. Am I going to see a crunch on that, or should it flow pretty easily?
I don't have good answers for you, but as far as I can tell, you're actually there's so many other performance improvements that we're adding to it that I think you're getting a net gain on performance. Cool. But I do know that if you can't, it will default to the old lighting engine.
Awesome. Okay. Well, fantastic.
So it won't get any worse.
It won't get any worse. That's good. Well, no, I have, like I said, I have very little to complain about. I have a beautiful I have a beautiful computer, a beautiful graphics card. I'm not worried. I get to play at max settings now. So,
Pretty much the same with me, but the fact that you're coming to Xbox One is actually making me consider upgrading my Xbox One 360 to a 1 ahead of schedule. So, thanks for that.
But here's the thing. You would have to open a new account.
Yeah, I would have to make a new account for.
Yeah, you'll make a new account, be new characters, new account.
I might end up doing it just because. To be honest with you, my nephew has an Xbox One. I would love to be able to play this game with him.
Yeah, my nephews that would allow them to get into Stowe a little bit better.
If there was a way I could hook up a keyboard to it, it would be awesome. But
I don't. Well, you can hook a keyboard up to the Xbox One. I don't think that you actually will be able to use the keyboard because the whole
it's
UI
so different, right?
It's not like you can switch to the PC UI. But that brings up a point. That's something I wanted to touch on. I've seen some weird posts about saying, well, why would I switch to the console? And it's like, well, we're not asking anybody to switch to the console.
This is for new players, people.
Yeah, it's for new players. We didn't. I mean, if you play on PC and you want and you have an Xbox or a PlayStation, we'd like you to check it out, but and maybe you'll enjoy it more. But we didn't, invest a year's worth of development so that of all this money, so that way
we could move everybody over.
Just move, and what business point would that be? It's like you can already play. We already got your money. Why would we just move you over?
I can tell you right now.
It's not.
I work in my office. There's like 55 of us in our office. I can tell you right now. There's probably 12 of those people who would probably try STO if it were on console because they're not PC gamers. So
that's the thing. Because the saturation of consoles is much bigger out there. There are people who just generally just aren't. There's the amount of PCs out there that can play Star Trek Online. Not only do they have a PC, but whether they have a PC that actually is a gamer rig. Some people just have PCs just for email or word processing, whatever they use. They're not necessarily a gamer rig, or they just have laptops and that's just they don't really use it for gaming. They use it for business or whatever. And a lot of people are moving more to tablets, really. So this not only is to reach all those people who have consoles, but even people who have PCs who maybe the PC experience for them just isn't that good playing games because their PC just isn't up to spec. And now they have a machine. We know what the specs are on the console, so we know we can build an experience that will play good for everyone, as opposed to what happens on a PC. So this is to reach like a lot of people that we could not reach before, or there might be some people, and there might be some people out there who play STO on a PC because that's the only way you can get it, but much rather play on a console because that's their preferred gaming experience. But this has been their only option. So those people might convert, so it's for them too. But this is really to reach a whole different audience. So it's just been really weird. People saying, "Well, why would I do this? This isn't for why did you invest? This makes no sense. This seems stupid." It says, "Are you kidding? It's like the amount of revenue potential available on console. It's a no-brainer. It's just like how we going to do it has been hard. But if we could do it,
your ROI is great.
What it did for Neverwinter was tremendous, right? I mean, I can't talk numbers, but it was like, wow, right?
And
that's good.
And the Zen store and the lock boxes and all that stuff is going to be available through the console as well, or is there going to be?
I'm not exactly sure how. I don't think there's going to be. I don't know if it's actually the Zen store, but it's some version of that. You'll be able to get all of that stuff as well. And so we're going to have to do some. We're going to have to do some catch ups, and we're making some changes as far as so that way. We got to do a lot of things. That stuff has been coming out over the last 6 years on Star Trek Online to try to catch. We don't want to throw everything at once on the Xbox. We're going to throw every single ship, every single Xbox, every single thing that's there. Some of it we're going to trickle out a little with the intention of releasing everything because we want to let everyone kind of experience it at the right pace. Like we're not going to skip all the last couple years of lockboxes, but we're not going to dump 14 lockboxes on the first day, right? So we're going to make a couple different special things to kind of let people catch up until we can get console to catch up a little more in lockstep with PC. So there will be some things that will be behind, but it was purely an intention in order to get people to release things at the right pace.
I know that Microsoft, through Xbox, they have their own virtual store system. So I was just wondering if you were going to be utilizing that, or if you're planning on having your store be separate. So, but okay, so it looks like you guys are still.
I'm not exactly entirely sure because I'm honestly personally not working on that. I'm just getting the stuff working, and then somebody else is making sure all of that stuff happens, and I'm just not involved in it, honestly.
No problem.
I don't think about that side. I don't ever think about when I have my team make a starship. I don't think about how it gets to the Zen store. It's just not even in my. It's just not in my.
Not in your radar.
It just gets out there. I don't know.
No
I don't know what. So eventually, I hear the date when it's going to go out, and I don't. So, but how it gets there, I don't even know. So same thing's going to be happening on Xbox. There's a whole producers worry about that, and marketing, and their teams to worry about those problems. I just worry about trying to make things fun.
Oh, I'm so, like I said, I'm so looking forward to it, and I miss talking to you, Al. I really do, and hopefully. I
miss talking to you. I was like, oh wow.
I know it's been too
I forget.
long. I think it's been since February since we spoke. I think we spoke. Did we speak in February? Yeah. I
can't remember the last time.
And
it's been too long.
I don't think
it has been far.
I don't even think it was February. I think it was before that.
I know.
So.
It's been
but anytime you want to have me on, if you talk about story bits or
hopefully between
or non-Star Trek stuff.
Hopefully between the time of say the release of Agents of Yesterday and before the con. Maybe.
Between okay. Sure.
That way we can talk about stories.
I think that I think it's always a great time for me to come on the GNT after a major release, so that way we can talk about all the spoilers and talk about the story details.
Awesome.
And why we did something.
We would love to be able to talk to you about this story. And if worst comes to worst, what we'll do is we'll sit you down at the convention and force you then. If we miss you before then.
I will.
Great.
We are doing what we can to be right next to you.
Likewise.
That is totally cool. We are excited.
We are too. So thank you so much for joining us, Al. It's been just too long, and hugs from far away.
Thank you very much. It's good to come home.
Aw. Mikey, you want to take us away?
Sure. Real quick, thank you very much, Al. It's been a pleasure. It's always a lot of fun to kick back and talk Trek with you. So I just wanted to personally thank you for taking the time. And this has been
my pleasure. Thank you.
No problem. This has been another episode of the GNT Show Supplemental Log. Join us next time when we talk to more people. Thanks. Bye.
Music for the GNT Show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Rathor. The GNT Show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my old man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I've sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy free galaxy. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that zero G.